This is Dubai Herbal Treatment Center. Our center a fully integrated conventional medical center for the best alternative medicines and conventional medicines under one roof. Let me speak more about DHTC. Dubai Herbal Treatment Center was founded in 2003 under the auspices of His Highness General Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President of the UAE and ruler of Dubai. In DHTC, we embrace a holistic view on health, and accordingly, we offer you an individualized solution to well-being. This bespoke approach is at the core of our philosophy. DHTC has three sections. Get and Stay Well, where all the clinical departments come. We have departments for Ayurveda, chiropractic, dermatology, homeopathy, medical Pilates, nutrition, preventive medicine, physiotherapy, pharmacy, and traditional Chinese medicine. The Fieldwell Retreat is the spa section. We offer body and mind treatments, body treatments, facials, and colon hydrotherapy. The Eat Well section, we have an Eat Well restaurant and an Eat Well bistro, which is offering the healthy foods and Eat Well meal plans too. Let me speak more about the Ayurveda department in DHTC. Professional and individual care by highly experienced and well-skilled Ayurvedic doctors. We practice authentic Ayurvedic treatments proven over centuries. We have a dedicated team of highly trained and experienced therapists and staff who are always ready to help and serve you. In DHTC, we offer the major treatments in Ayurveda like Abhyangam, Elakiri, Pirichil, Kadivasti, Shirodhara, Nasyam, and Udvartanam. Let me speak more about me. I am Dr. Asha Jones. I have more than 25 years of experience in India and UAE. I hold a bachelor's degree in Ayurvedic medicine and surgery from India, post-graduation in colon hydrotherapy from National College of Colon Hydrotherapy from UK. I joined Dubai Herbal Treatment Center in 2011. My areas of expertise, I identifying embodied constitution, dosha imbalances, and prescribe traditional treatments, medicines to balance your dosha, and advices for detox and immunity. I offer traditional and scientific Ayurvedic medicines for the treatment of spinal problems, skin problems, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, also for neurological disorders, stress management, migraine, and I am well experienced in treating weight reduction and obesity management too. So today I'm going to talk about some basic Ayurvedic principles and how you can eat healthy accordingly. As you all know, Ayurveda is a 5,000-year-old system of natural healing originated in India. It is a complete medical system, more than a mere system of treating illness. Ayurveda is the science of life. So, knowing Ayurveda is not merely to prevent and cure diseases, but also to know how to live happy and a useful life. It also provides guidelines on ideal daily and seasonal routines, diet, behavior, and lifestyle. Ayurveda describes three fundamental energies that control our body. So these energies are known in Sanskrit as Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and these are the primary forces responsible for the characteristics of our mind and body. So each of these three doshas have a certain quantity, some qualities and functions. When all of these are in a balance, it is called the normal or the balanced stage. This is called the health or wellness. So what is health? When you say that you do not have any diseases or symptoms you feel, do you think that you are healthy? No. Health in Ayurveda has a deeper meaning than that. Happiness, a sense of well-being, emotions, evenly balanced emotional states, mental functions, good memory, comprehension, intelligence, and reasoning ability, senses, proper functioning of eyes, ears, nose, taste, and touch, energy, abundant mental and physical energy to perform, digestion, easy digestion of food and drink, elimination, normal elimination of the waste such as sweat, urine, etc. Physical body, a healthy body and tissues and organs and systems. So the first dosha is called Vata. Vata is the principle necessary to mobilize the function of the nervous system. Vata has the following functions. It controls all the movements of the body, both the physical and the mental, that is including respiration, heartbeat, muscular movements, thinking, etc. All eliminations like fetus, feces, urine, sweat, semen, everything is controlled by Vata. Pitta is the second energy. Pitta is mainly responsible for metabolism at all levels, from digestion of food for transformation to other materials. It is also responsible for thermogenesis, that is maintaining the proper body temperature. Pitta is also responsible for the appetite, that is the feeling of hunger and thirst. Its comprehension means the information into knowledge, also reasoning and judgment. Pitta also responsible for courage and braveness to face a situation, and Pitta also controls complexion, that means gives color and softness to the skin. The third energy is the Kapha, is the heaviest of the three doshas. Kapha provides the following functions. It gives strength to perform physical tasks, moistness and lubrication to prevent the excessive friction, that is mainly in the joints, stability to both mind and body. It also gives the mass, the structure, means to provide the fullness of the body tissues and organs. It's also responsible for the fertility. So when we check the qualities of the doshas, Vata has the following qualities, means Vata is cold, light, dry, rough, hard and mobile. Pitta is hot, sharp, oily, penetrating, light and liquid. When Pitta is excess in a body, it can be sour or foul smelling. Qualities of Kapha dosha, it is cool, heavy, dense, stable, oily and slimy. So every individual has a unique combination of these three energies. This ratio is our body constitution or prakriti. So as per that ratio, our physical and mental character will develop. So it is important to understand the constitution of our body so that we can determine the correct diet and lifestyle and live a disease-free life. So how can you find out the body constitution? I will give you, this is a small table showing some prominent body features according to your dosha. So if you are a person having a Vata dominant energy, your body will be light, thin build, you have a dry skin, thin hair, you feel nervous and anxious, irregular hunger, you cannot tolerate cold weather, and your sleep is disturbed. For a person having a Pitta dominant nature, they are of a medium build, having skin problems, medium hair, gets angry fast, sharp hunger, cannot tolerate hot weather, and sleeps moderately. For the Kapha people, they are heavy build, have oily and smooth skin, thick hair, calm mind, moderate hunger, cannot tolerate hot weather, and oversleep. These are some of the qualities as per the body constitution. This is another beautiful pictorial illustration of body types. We can see the Vata person is very thin build, Pitta of medium build, and Kapha is the heaviest. Kapha can get more problems related to obese and um, body weights. So we saw what is health. So now we are going to look what is the disease stage, or how we get diseases or sickness. When the doshas are in the balanced state, means in our natural ratio, we will not get any problems. That is the balanced stage. But because of our diet or lifestyle or any external causes, like like now in the situation of this COVID-19, no, this energy can go high or low, means it can get increased or decreased. So there starts the imbalances. So that stage which can cause you many symptoms, and that is the disease or the sickness stage. Like increases like, while dislike or the opposite decreases like. That means if you are cold and if you eat ice cream, you will become colder. But if you are hot and you eat chili peppers, you will become hotter. This same principle is used in the treatment protocol to balance the imbalanced energies. We saw that Vata is cold and rough, and with this Vata can get increased. So the increased Vata can be calmed by treating with the opposite qualities, that is hot and oily. So in Ayurvedic consultation, it is important to identify the correct body constitution imbalance to prescribe the correct treatments. Ayurveda advises a scientific approach for determining the correct diet based upon an individual's constitution. This approach is quite different from the traditional view of a balanced diet, that is eating daily from basic food groups like meat, dairy, fruit, grains, and vegetables. But according to Ayurveda literature, such a scheme is insufficient to lead us to the path of good health. So we all know healthy diet is very important for a healthy body and a healthy mind. Taste is the sensation perceived by the tongue. The Ayurvedic diet identifies 6 tastes: sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, and astringent. So this is a table showing the effects of tastes in for the doshas. If you see the first 3 taste, sweet, sour, and salty, is able to increase to calm the vata. On the other hand, the pungent, bitter, and astringent helps in aggravating the vata. So if you are taking sweet, bitter, and astringent, it is helping to calm the pitta, and sour, salty, and pungent can increase the pitta. For kapha, the pungent, bitter, and astringent helps in calming, and sweet and sour and salty can help in increasing the kapha. So when we are selecting the foods to calm or to increase the doshas, we need to select as per these tastes. So let us look at the foods which is good for each doshas. So as Vata is cold and dry dosha, warm nourishing food with moderately heavy texture with added butter and fat are good for stabilizing Vata. Take only warm drinks or hot water. Warm milk, cream, butter, warm soups, teas, hot cereals, fresh baked bread, raw nuts and nut butters are good for Vatas. All sweet fruits, make sure it is very ripe and sweet, are best for Vatas. If it is not ripe, it has more sour and astringent taste, which will increase the Vata. So spices like cardamom, cumin, cinnamon, ginger, cloves, and garlic can be used for curries, soups, or for your other favorable dishes. So what are the foods to reduce? Cold foods such as iced drinks, raw vegetables, salads, and greens are not good for those with Vata imbalance or when Vata is dominant. Avoid drinks with too much caffeine and candies as they disturb Vata. Avoid unripe fruits as they are too astringent. So for the Pitta persons, Pitta is hot and light and intense and sharp in nature. The best foods for Pittas are cool and warm with moderately heavy textures. Herbal teas, specifically mint or licorice root tea, are pacifying to Pittas. Vegetarian foods in general are the best for Pittas as consuming red meat and tends to heat the body from the fat. Take cool, refreshing food in summer or hot weather like salads, milk, and ice cream. They should consume abundant amounts of milk, grains, and vegetables too. Pittas should avoid pickles, sour cream, and cheese. Also avoid vinegar in dressing and use lemon juice instead. Alcoholic and fermented food should also be avoided. Avoid oily, hot, salty, and heavy food such as anything fried and use less butter and added fat. Pitta should also skip nuts, hot spices, honey, egg yolks, and hot drinks. Coffee consumption is also good to reduce. So let us look for the foods for the kapha. Warm, light, and dry food is favorable for kapha people. Cook light meals. Raw fruits and vegetables are good. Any food that is spicy, such as very spicy Mexican or Indian foods, are good, especially in winter. Dry cooking methods like broiling, grilling, baking are preferable over moist cooking, such as steaming, boiling, or poaching. Spices advised are cumin, fenugreek, sesame seed, and turmeric. Foods to reduce. Kaphas need to watch the consumption of too many sweet and fatty foods and also their salt consumption as well, because they have the tendency to eat all these foods. As salt, it can lead to the fluid retention. A typical kapha tendency is to overeat. The main meal should be at the middle of the day and only a light dry meal in the evening. In general, kaphas should avoid sugar, fats, and dairy products, chilled foods, drinks, and use ghee and oils in small amounts only. As I said earlier, the second energy or pitta is responsible for our digestion. This is also called Agni or fire. Agni is a Sanskrit name for fire. So pitta is also called Agni. So this digestive fire can be compared to a burning fire. We all know if the flame is very low, then it will take a long time to cook the food. In the same way, if the fire is too big, it can burn the food. If you put a huge log on a low fire, what will happen? It will extinguish the fire. So our digestive fires should be balanced so that we can digest our meals efficiently and smoothly. When our digestive energies are robust, we create healthy tissues and eliminate waste products efficiently. On the other hand, if our Agni or our digestion is weakened, the digestion is incomplete and creates toxins that get stored in the body. This toxic residue is known as ama in Sanskrit. When this toxic residue or ama accumulates in the body, it blocks the flow of energy in the channels and the nourishment throughout our body. Ayurveda considers this buildup of toxins in time the underlying cause of all diseases. A common example I can say is the accumulation of saturated fat and cholesterol that is beyond the body's capacity to digest. Over time, what will happen? This leads to the blockage of blood vessels and arteries and leads to stroke, heart attacks, etc. So balancing the Agni or the digestive fire is very important for the digestion to be more efficient. So if the digestion is weak, it can prevent, it can help, it can cause the formation of toxins which causes the disease. I'm going to give you a few tips for the better digestion. Ayurveda seeks to connect our mind and body with the environment. Agni is associated with sun. So Ayurveda recommends that lunch be the largest meal of the day, since that time is the digestive Agni is working at its maximum potency. As the sun goes down, so does your Agni. When the sun is strongest between 12 and 2 p.m. is when the digestive fire is also strongest. Dinner should be lighter than lunch and should be ideally be eaten before 8 p.m. And after 10 p.m., actually the body is working to burn off toxins. So if you eat after 10 p.m., the body is continuing to work to digest the food. The food may then cause toxins to accumulate in the system, and as a result, the next day you wake up tired. So late night meals interfere with sleep too. If you are not able to wake up fresh and clear, then it is important to analyze the quantity of food and the time of night you are eating dinner. Eat in a calm and a comfortable place. Our bodies need an uplifting and settled environment in order to process and absorb the nutrients from our meals. If that is not available, then we should at least be sitting down to eat, not standing, walking, or driving. The act of eating is life-giving. The process of eating, according to Ayurveda, is something reverent and important for the development of consciousness as well as our physical health. So when we sit down to eat, our stomach is in a relaxed posture and our awareness is on the taste, texture, and the smell of the food. This will greatly improve the digestion. Indians have the good practice of, not nowadays, in olden days, they used to sit in floor for eating. So that is a good position for the digestion. Be present when you eat. That we all know that the taste and the smell of a food can tempt us. Even if a dish is not something you like, if it is presented well, it can stimulate our appetite. So we know the importance of senses for the better appetite and digestion. So Ayurveda advises to use all your five senses, that is touch, smell, look, and even the sounds for a better digestion. Eat the right quantity. Ayurveda advises always eat only 2/3 of your capacity. We all know that stomach is a muscular bag and food is digested here by moving and mixing it with the enzymes. Imagine if you fill a bottle completely without any space and try to shake it, it will not move. Likewise, if you fill your stomach with completely, it is very difficult to digest. Eat warm meals. It is always good for digestion. Do not drink cold water or ice cold drinks with the meals, as this may dampen the digestive fire. We saw fire is hot, so if you're mixing it with cold water, it will reduce the digestion there. Warm water is always good with the meals. Eat quality food. Food is prana. Prana is the word in Sanskrit for life. That means the food is the life force. Eating exactly what we need according to our body constitution, then food becomes our life energy. So artificial food gives you artificial energy. Real food gives you real energy. So what is real food? Foods comprising of whole grains, legumes, seeds, vegetables, etc. But now in fast-moving world, we do not have time to prepare food, no time to eat properly. For working people, lunchtime is business time too. So in this modern world, we always rely on fast food and processed food. Do not eat fast. You should chew your food well. Digestion starts in the mouth with the mixing of saliva. When you chew, you are grinding the food to small particles, and so the digestive enzymes can act on it easily. Remember, your stomach does not have a teeth to grind. So Ayurveda advises to chew like a goat. Chew till it becomes semi-solid, that is, it is said almost for 32 times. When you chew your food, you will eat slowly too. So people who are eating slowly tend to eat less. Avoid sleeping straight after eating. Even if you are really tired or full, it is better to go for a walk. This will stimulate your digestion process. Do not eat incompatible food items together. According to Ayurveda, every food has its own taste, a heating or a cooling energy that is called the virya, and the post-digestive effect called vipaka. When 2 or 3 different food substances of different taste, energy, and post-digestive effect are combined, Agni can become overloaded, inhibiting the enzyme system and resulting in the production of toxins in the system. While it is true that an individual's Agni largely determines how well or poorly food is digested, food combinations are also of great importance. When foods of the like proteins, carbohydrates, and fats having different attributes, taste, heating, or cooling properties, and digestive effects are eaten together, Agni will be slowed down. These foods can then remain in the stomach for 7 to 8 hours. The same foods, if eaten separately, might well stimulate Agni, be digested more quickly, and even help to burn ama or the toxins. Thus, according to Ayurveda, one should eat according to one's constitution and take fruits, starches, proteins, and fats separately at different times of the day. Combining foods improperly can produce indigestion, fermentation, putrefaction, and gas formation. This condition, if prolonged, can lead to toxins and diseases. Foods in the wrong combination also form toxins, gases, and it will not digest because of the different classes of food require their own specific digestive enzymes. Let me give you a few examples of the incompatible food. Eating bananas with milk can diminish Agni, change the intestinal flora, producing toxins, and may cause sinus congestion, cold, cough, and allergies. Second, avoid mixing milk or yogurt with sour or citrus fruits. And yes, it means that yogurt with fruit would not be considered a healthy breakfast by an Ayurveda practitioner. Melons should be eaten alone, never mixed with grains. Try to eat fruit separately to get the most nutrients. Avoid eating cooked and raw foods together. Do not eat meat protein and milk protein together, as meat is heating and milk is cooling. Do not mix fresh milk with other milk products. The action of hydrochloric acid in the stomach causes the milk to curdle. For this reason, Ayurveda advises against taking milk with sour fruits, yogurt, sour cream, cheese, and fish. Honey should never be cooked. That's very important. If honey is cooked, it becomes poison. Honey digests slowly. When cooked, the molecules become a non-homogenized glue which sticks to the mucous membranes and clogs the small channels producing toxin. So uncooked honey is nectar and cooked honey is poison. So let me end here. I will unmute everyone. If you have any questions, you can ask me now.
Dr. Asha, thanks very much for a wonderful talk. I really feel like I'm learning more and more about Ayurveda. I like the understanding of the different dosha.
Thank you.
You examine for the different dosha.
Yes.
Did you understand my question, Dr. Asha?
Pardon, tell me one.
How do you examine for the different dosha?
Yeah. So we need to question. We need to touch, because some qualities are feel sensation, like hot. Then questionnaires and of course there is a pulse determination too.
Thank you very much, Dr. Asha.
Let me mute everyone. Dr. Travis, you can unmute and ask me.
I said thank you very much, Dr. Asha. I really enjoyed your talk.
Thank you so much. So anyone having any other questions?
Thank you, Dr. Asha. It was a very useful talk, especially about the food combinations, which even I was not aware of. Like cooked honey is not good because I use honey for cooking. So from now on, I'll be careful about it.
No,
And
don't
thank
do
you
like that.
it gave me a good knowledge about Ayurveda also. Thanks.
Thank you.
Doctor, I'm Joyce here with you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really very much pleased with what you said about it. But I want to like to know about the combination of curd with fish. Is it not okay?
Curd with
fish?
No. It's actually a wrong combination, because the milk is cooling and the fish is heating, having the heating energy. So when you are mixing it together, it can create the toxins in the body. So in long term, if you are using, it can create, give you problems like skin diseases like psoriasis and other diseases too.
Okay, and one more thing, doctor, like lemon and honey, we used to have it daily morning. So I used to have it with warm water. Is it okay?
Warm water is fine.
Warm water is fine. Okay. Honey with warm water is fine.
It's okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, doctor.
Thank you. Welcome. Anyone else?
Hi, Asha. Thank you very much for the talk.
Thank you, Sheila.
Asha, ഞാൻ ചോദിക്കാൻ വന്നത് മീറ്റും തൈരും അപ്പം ഒരുമിച്ച് കുക്കിങ്ങിന് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പാടില്ല, മീറ്റിനകത്ത് തൈര്?
No, it is also the same principle like fish and the curd.
Fish and curd.
Yeah, same principle. So
and meat and cheese also not.
Better you avoid it, because this comes in two groups, and when we are mixing the two groups together, it is always not good to take it for a long time.
Okay.
I hope no one else.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Asha. Recipe chicken you marinate with yogurt and keep it for some hours.
Yeah, that is actually as per Ayurvedic principle, it is not good. So it is better to avoid to use the milk products with the fish or no the chicken.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Asha, can you suggest something for bloating and acidity? Quick
See,
remedy for that.
if you are looking at what you eat, no bloating, bloating and acidity is from causing from the indigestion, or sometimes it can be from the like the food. If you are eating so much of sour or no spicy foods, it will stimulate more acid in the stomach, which is then giving you the symptoms. So always avoid spicy and acidic foods. Eat light meals, eat cooked meals, don't keep the stomach empty, eat in regular intervals. Then don't take the raw foods and which the foods which are not easy to digest. So if you are taking care of all these things, this can be reduced.
Okay. Thank you, Asha.
Welcome.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question. Can you suggest something that can help to gain weight for people who have difficulty to put on weight?
So I feel you are thin, no? So people who want to gain weight should more concentrate for like foods which can calm the vata. So you need to eat more oily and foods which are having heavy textured, adding butter or coconut oil or all the foods which is good for vata, you can try.
Okay, and can you recommend any website with recipes for that?
I am right now I cannot say anything like that. If you can mail me your mail ID, I will send you by mail.
All right, I'll do that. Thank you.
Take my mail ID.
Doctor, can you suggest anything for a better sleep?
See, if you have a sleep problem, again we need to concentrate for the vata treatment, because sleep is vata controlled. So you can find something which can calm the vata, foods which are good to calm the vata, like milk, oily foods, heavy textured foods, and also application of oil to your body. You can try applying coconut oil or Ayurvedic oils like Shirabella before you go bed in the head, or even applying to the soles and the palms can help in stimulating the sleep.
Thank you, doctor.
Welcome.
Can you please suggest anything for reducing the weight?
So weight, first of all, you need to watch what you are eating and know how you are eating. You should find out what body type you are and know what foods are good for you, and then it can help in controlling your weight. But mostly, you need to concentrate more for a kapha reducing diet, like avoid fats and heavy foods. Eat more salads and raw foods. Do not eat 3 meals. Like you can have a main meal in the daytime and skip some meal times. And also there are some medicines too which can help to reduce the appetite and reduce the fat.
Thank you.
Welcome. So let me wind up here. These are my contact details, my mail ID and my mobile number too. If you have any queries more, let me, please mail me. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Asha.
Thank you,
Thank
doctor.
you. Thank you.
Issue itself on